We'll start our first program learning about C++ program structure with an old standby and favorite for all programming instructors called Hello World. Yes, we'll start by doing a basic program called Hello World to show you how C++ programs are structured and put together. To begin, there are certain parts of a program where we write notes to ourselves or other programmers, but we want the compiler and the computer to ignore. For example, I've left some notes in this program called Hello World Program Example. This is your first program. Note that we have 2 slashes to mark a comment. The compiler will ignore everything after the 2 slashes. Our first real line of code consists of #include iostream.h. This is a key library that allows us to see things on the screen and also later to have input from the keyboard. iostream is short for input output stream. We begin our simple program with a main program command called int main void. We also have an open squiggly bracket. That open squiggly bracket is on the right hand side of the keyboard. Our first lines of code that actually execute something we can see are called cout statements. Cout is a command, C-O-U-T, that works with iostream.h to allow us to see things on the computer screen. In this case, we also have 2 little, we call them alligators as a slang expression, pointing out towards Hello World, which is in quotation marks. We see more of those small alligators and an end line with a semicolon. ENDL, end line, goes at the end so that later we'll see a carriage return and new output will start on a new line. When we look at our cout statements, we'll see several things. The cout with the alligators, some text inside quotation marks, we call this a literal string, and the end line and semicolon. When this program executes, all we will see for this particular line is Hello World on the screen. The cout statement places whatever's inside the quotes on the screen for us to see. The end line makes the next line show up 1 line below the one we just saw, and the semicolon lets the computer know that that line of code is complete. I've added 2 more cout statements that we'll practice with as well. Cout, we program like Galaxy Quest, and cout, never give up, never surrender. Trust me, that's a great motto for this class. Now, to finish the program, we'll see return 0 with another semicolon and then a closed squiggly that balances out the one that opened the main program. Note that every line between the open and closed squiggly ends with a semicolon. Capital letters and small letters count unless we're putting a literal string inside the quotation marks. Pause the presentation at this point and place the information on this slide in your notes. Include the comments. One last comment about comments. Comments can appear anywhere in the program. They do not have to appear at the beginning like they do here. They can be interspersed inside the program to explain certain key ideas of the program for anyone who might be reading your software at a later time. When you have finished placing this slide in your notes, proceed to a summary of key ideas about Hello World. This slide and the notes that you make from this slide are what I will check for your notebook grade for this topic. Now here are some key ideas or pearls of wisdom about what we just covered. First, remember 2 forward slashes together make comments, and comments get ignored by the compiler. We also have an opening squiggly and a closed squiggly to open and close the main portion of the program after we declare int main void. we have a semicolon at the end of each line inside the open and closing squigglies. We also place a library at the beginning of the program called IOStream that allows us to use a command called cout to place output on the screen. Spelling matters, so do caps and smalls, unless the text we're using is inside quotation marks. You can note at this time that all C++ commands will be small letters. If you take other programming languages like Java, you'll note that some use caps and smalls, which can be confusing. But for us, all of our official C++ keywords and commands will be small letters. cout works with IOStream to send information to the screen. Okay, that gives you information about how we structure a program, and you now have an example which we'll use to build and run our first program using Xcode.